So yeah, all the respect.
You know what I'm wondering this whole time? Like before you became a CrossFit gym owner and you were working as a mechanical engineer and actually, as you opened up your gym, was health and fitness, in particular fitness, was it a priority in your life? When did it become a priority in your life?
Fitness became a priority while I was working as an engineer. I used to have a lot of back pain, a lot of shoulder pain, right? A lot of desk duty. Coming out of school, engineering program, sitting down, labs, all that stuff. Sitting down, hunched over all the time, right?
You had a sedentary lifestyle before.
Yes, and before that, while I was up until I graduated high school, I played sports every freaking day of my life.
What
I grew,
sports?
in high school, throughout high school, I played football, and I grew up playing soccer and some form of hockey, whether it's street hockey or ice hockey. So super active, a lot of contact sports, always doing something. We
How
were,
old were you when you first started becoming involved in sports?
I can't even tell you.
So like a
Couldn't tell you.
little guy.
Yeah, yeah. It was so I grew up in the projects in North Hollywood. There's project housing out there. I think it's about 4 or 5 blocks, I want to say, of project housing. And one thing that they had there was like a little center, and they would try to get kids active in different things. So one of them was sports. So we would just, ride our bikes, or when I was a little bit younger, just get driven to a field that wasn't too far away, and we would just play sports. A lot of the neighborhood kids did it. So
And all of this is free?
most of it was free when it came to uniforms, league dues for soccer. I mean, we had to figure that out, but
Yeah.
for as poor as we were, we could always figure it out. Like we always figured it out.
Your parents made it happen?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
My mom primarily really made it happen.
That's amazing. I see, I
So
didn't know any of this about you. So like
yeah.
to even see how far you've come today, this is incredible already.
Oh, thanks. I don't. I just see it as like you just do stuff. You
Yeah,
know what I
but
mean?
not
Like,
everybody does. Not everybody does. Not everybody goes from growing up in the projects to becoming like a business owner,
yeah, yeah. No, a lot of the people I grew up with have things haven't gone well for
right?
them. Got a lot of even kids that I grew up with on the soccer team, like on some of the soccer teams. What's funny is the ones that probably did the best went into the military when they were younger. But we had a lot of drug dealers, gang members, you know, kids that I grew up with that, I mean, involved in murders, and if they weren't directly involved, they would take the rap for whomever they were associated with, and turning 18, 17, 18, instantly jail for 20 years. So a lot of that.
You saw a lot of heavy stuff as a youngster,
Yeah, which is why I pay attention to my
which
surroundings.
is why you pay attention. It's all making sense, which is why you're very protective of your
Yeah,
family,
yeah,
which is why you're very protective of yourself, and you don't let anybody touch you unless you want them to.
yeah, exactly. There's a lot of stuff. Saw a lot of stuff.
I
You
get
know,
you.
lived through a bunch of stuff, and then you don't. I'll do anything before I let like my daughter experience any of that stuff. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I
Yeah.
do know what you mean. My father was very, very protective of me, and but that's a whole different story. But I get things are starting to make sense why you are the way that you are. So let's let's fast forward to CrossFit gym. Why did you choose CrossFit?
My cousin got me into it.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, I was hanging out with my cousin, and he had started in San Diego at one of one of the first ones in San Diego, the famous one. I think it was like Soul CrossFit. I can't remember which one it was,
Okay.
but they hosted sectionals, and so I used to go hang out with my cousin all the time, and I go visit him in San Diego, and then we'd go to Mexico, and whatever. Anyway,
Dot, dot, dot.
just eat tacos and lobster.
Right.
And then, but I saw he was getting in shape, and he's like, "Hey, you should really like find one, try it. I know there's one there's a couple where you're at because Chris Clever told him about it when I don't know how they were associated. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I'll try it. So I was out here. I went to go visit a friend because she was working for a vet clinic, and right next door was a Krav Maga CrossFit facility called Team CrossFit.
Oh my God, I remember Team CrossFit.
Yeah.
I was with them for a minute.
Were you really?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
so that's where I
was.
started. Yeah, that's where I started.
That's where you started? Okay, what year is this?
Was that 20? When did I open?
How old were you?
I was 26 or 27?
Okay, 26 or
No,
27.
25. I was 25, I want to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's about the age when you started getting interested in CrossFit.
Yeah. I was about 25 because I opened Synapse when I was 27.
2 years later? So wait,
Yeah.
you started off at Team CrossFit, and was that the first CrossFit gym you became affiliated with? It only took 2 years until you opened up your own gym?
Yeah, something like that.
That's amazing. So
my
wait,
family.
were you working out before you joined CrossFit, or did CrossFit help kind of like get you into super shape?
It got me into shape and it got me out of a lot of trouble.
Oh, you were getting into trouble? Well,
Oh, no,
25,
it
yeah,
was,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
so yeah, so I was working as an engineer, right? Back pain, all that stuff. I used to pop like 8 Advil before going to like 8 Advil a day. Like I was just always hurting, sedentary lifestyle. I tried going to, I would kind of try some stuff, but it never worked out, right? Like just don't know what to do. And around that time, so I'm making more than decent money, making way too much money. And what do you do when you're kind of unhappy at your job and you got a shit ton of money? Is you go drinking and eating and partying it up and all that stuff. So not like real trouble, but just being stupid.
You were just having fun, and
Too much fun.
you were living your 20s.
Yeah, just living the 20s. And then when I started at Team CrossFit, I started with Krav Maga, and I was having a blast with that. And they were just like, hey, try CrossFit. Jumped into that. I was like, you know what, let's do it. Let me jump into this. Jumped into it. Took to it really quickly. I had a, pretty extensive athletic background. And then one day I remember talking to a friend of mine, and I was just like, yeah, hey, I'm not, they're doing this special thing on Saturday. So it was a Friday night, and I was like, they're doing a special thing tomorrow. I think I'm going to go check it out and do it. And I'm just going to stay in. They were doing Fight Combat. And he's like, all right, cool, man. Yeah, well, hit me up tomorrow. Never called him back. Never. So never went out again. That was like
You never went out. You never went out drinking and doing whatever you were doing?
Nope. Just took one like night off
Yeah.
from the routine of going out on Thursday, going out on Friday, going on, you know what I mean? Like whatever that routine was.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And what did you do instead? Did you just take all the CrossFit classes?
Yeah. So I just would do the CrossFit classes, and then pretty much. Like I would hang out there a little bit, like longer, get to know people. I would do Krav and CrossFit back to back or something like that.
Yeah.
Just hung out and started making some friends there that, it was nice to make friends that were essentially promoting something good, right? Something healthy.
Something healthy, yeah, an alternative to drinking and partying and doing whatever else you were doing. No judgment, because I've been there myself in my 20s. And it sounds like you replaced CrossFit for drinking, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just, I think for me, I was always part of a team growing up. And even though outside of sports, so one of the, I was always a jock, but I
You
never
were
hung out
always
with
athletic.
jocks.
You were an athlete.
Yeah, so I was an athlete, but I always hung out with, I was in the math science magnet in high school, right?
You
So
were you were an athlete, also nerd.
yeah, so I was an athlete nerd, right? So I wouldn't really hang out with the football players, but on the field, I was part of a team, and the sports version of me is a completely different person. It's a different personality. It's a different disguise, right? Completely different person. And so getting into CrossFit kind of brought that back a little bit.
That's nice.
Yeah. And it
That's
reminded me
really
of
nice.
practice. And I used to love going to practice.
Yeah.
You
Were
know,
you
I,
good working with on a team? Were you good with communicating and being a team player?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was probably my strongest suit. I wasn't the most athletically gifted, but so like in soccer, there were certain team members that I just had like really good chemistry with, and we would communicate. We just looks. Like they'd look at me, I knew what they wanted to do. I'd look at them. In football, I was a little more vocal, but and a little, so there was definitely that communication, but not so much to where I was trying to be a leader. Just kind of doing my part with other people.
It sounds like you were really good at just being a part of the team and doing your part and being available to help out where needed.
Yeah, that's pretty much I think my function in life is just to kind of be a part, and help out where I can. I don't need any like
You don't need any accolades. You
no,
don't
I
need to
don't
be the
really
leader.
care.
You don't need to wear the boss hat.
Definitely don't. Yeah, which makes this whole thing funny, right? Because I'm the boss. So it's like,
Yes,
but I run
it
it
is
like,
funny.
no one calls me coach. I hate that. I've never had a,
Really.
yeah, but when people
I
do, I
feel
get
like it's
really,
such a nice sign of respect.
yeah, it is. But I'm like, just call me Jimmy. It's fine. Like,
Okay.
I don't know if I don't know if I just don't want to be seen in that way. I haven't like done a deep dive into that yet,
It might be interesting to ponder from
yeah,
time to time. Who knows?
yeah. I like things to just be relaxed. I don't know.
Well, you can be the coach. You can be somebody who people look up to and people look to for information and education and guidance and motivation, and you can be relaxed. You can be all those things.
Yeah, I think that's where I struggle with, like, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes
You
sense.
know,
I'm telling you that it is possible. You can be all of those things, but it sounds like in CrossFit, like your love of sports and being on a team came back to life, and it sounds like you just went with it. You were consumed with it. I'm assuming
oh
you
yeah.
took all the classes,
Took all the classes, learned all the
got fit.
movements, got fit, got super sexy, super shredded, you know what I mean?
Did you really? Did you actually get super lean?
Oh yeah. And it's funny, it's actually how I reconnected with a bunch of friends of mine. a bunch of high school friends, some college friends, and just other people because I did a photo shoot for Boss Rutan. So my buddy and I, we did a photo shoot for something they called they had a O2 trainer, it's like a mouthpiece that restricts your breathing.
Yeah.
So we did a photo shoot for that. So I posted a couple of the photos just like on my Facebook, and some people saw them. They're like, "Dude, I need to come train with you." So they would just come and they joined the gym. And
You were a fitness model.
I was a fitness model for like a split second. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So weird. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah. And then I did some stuff like I don't know. I forget his last name. His first name is Andrew. He owns Most Fit. And so they make a few. He's made a few. Whatchamacallit, like workout tools or equipment, some workout equipment, right? Like some straps, some stuff. So I was his go-to for a little bit. He'd just hit me up, be like, "Hey, I need you to, do some photos for this or do some this."
He needed you to model.
He needed me to model.
You were a proper fitness model for a moment in your life.
Yeah, I was a fitness model for a moment.
And you didn't even try to go for that. It happened organically because you were just out having fun, getting your life healthy unintentionally. You were just having fun, getting fit, getting lean, liking the results. People started noticing it, and then boom, that fell in your lap. So was that the healthiest or the fittest you've ever been in your life?
Fittest, yes. Healthiest, no.
Oh, that's a strong no. I want to know why.
Ever since I was probably like 18 or 19 years old, I would get some excruciating stomach and abdominal pain. Never knew what it was. It would come and go. I'd get it for a couple weeks at a time. Just severe bloating, constipation, but I'm just going to get graphic, like a weird combination of constipation and diarrhea, but the bloating wouldn't go away. I'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and honestly contemplating just stabbing myself in the stomach to relieve whatever the hell's going on there. Wouldn't sleep. Couldn't sleep. When I would, I wouldn't skip work. I can go and do stuff. So I can make myself very active and put it away. I couldn't not be active. If I was inactive, I'd feel it way too much. So this progressed. So even as I became a coach, there were days where I would just kind of coach in a kneeling position. I would just kind of kneel down.
Uncomfortable?
Oh my God, so uncomfortable, super irritable, overly emotional.
Yeah.
Right? Because just exhausted from trying to suppress the pain.
Yeah.
Then it'd go away and I'd be fine for a bit and think that I figured it out, and then it'd come back, and then that was a never-ending cycle until more recently. And then more recently now I'd say I'm healthier, but definitely nowhere near as fit as I used to be.
So wait, do you still have all that gastrointestinal distress?
Nope.
Did you solve the issue?
Mm-hmm.
Can you share, or is it too personal?
No, everyone's gonna, I don't really care about people, but I solved it with fasting, intermittent fasting, whatever.
Yeah.
I just call it eating when I'm hungry, right?
Okay. And not eating when you're not.
And not eating when I'm not. And I went animal-based and fruit only.
Any veggies?
So, none.
Fruit and animal protein only.
Yes.
How long ago was that?
2 years ago, I want to say.
So 2 years ago, you changed your diet to include only animal proteins and fruits, and then did all of that GI problems, did they go away?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. right before I made the switch, right before I made the switch, I was actually going through I had a weird bout of it, or just once again, 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, sitting on the toilet praying that something will come. You know what I mean? Like up for 2 hours at a time, doing everything. Drink water with baking soda. Do apple cider vinegar. This. Do this things. Like do that things. Or whatever. Activated charcoal, slippery elm, papaya pills. You name it. You name it.
You did everything.
Everything.
And those are all the holistic methods too.
Yeah.
Did you see a Western doctor as well?
No, because I had a feeling that, like, I don't really trust them. I don't think they. I've met several people that were going through something similar, and they went to the doctor and they put them on those Remicade, whatever that weird autoimmune drip is that they used to treat, severe celiac disease. They used to treat other like arthritic conditions. You know, they put them on medications, and I'm like, based on the side effects of all that nonsense, I'd rather just deal with the fucking stomach pain whenever it came.
Really? You would rather deal with that excruciating pain instead of being put on some sort of prescription medication?
That there's no off-ramp for, right? And that's a very important thing. So before I figured all this stuff out, like I've always played with my diet, right? I did paleo because I did paleo. I did paleo zone. Remember when zone dieting was a thing? Mm-hmm. I did zone dieting to lose weight, to lean out, and I did zone dieting to gain. I done paleo zone to lose or to slim, and paleo zone to gain. That one was rough. That was rough. I was so sick of eating. I was just making like smoothies of just stuff. I was just disgusting. What else did I do?
Did you do ketogenic?
I've done, keto. I did carnivore. Like, I always did stuff to kind of figure it out. Except for being vegan. I was like, no, that just seems wrong. I was like, I'm not even going to even bother with that. So, it's like...
I love how opinionated you are. You are unapologetically yourself. This is too much. This is too much.
And I'm holding back, I'm trying to be semi-professional. And so... I tried a lot of things, and right at that time, I was trying a bunch of stuff. I had a private client great kid, and he came to me. He was recommended by a member here. He needed private training, and when I started talking to him, I was like, oh shit, like I'm in it now. He just got out of the hospital for some insane Crohn's. He weighed like 97 pounds soaking wet when he got out of the hospital. Mm-hmm. He's like 97% blind. Like one eye is completely blind. The other one is like on its way out. He's had all these different surgeries, all these things. He's like with UCLA internal medicine. They got him on Remicade. I don't know if that was the drip or the pill. They got him on pills. They got him on this. His nutritionist, they set him up with a nutritionist that's like, hey, you're too underweight. You need to drink milk. You need to eat this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And he's like, well, what if, but he didn't want, he's like, dude, all that stuff like messes with me. And they're like, but you got to do it because you're too underweight. It was just a disaster. So he came to talk to me, and I can say it now because he's fine. But I was kind of like, hey, carnivore will work for you. I just had a feeling like it's all intuition. It was all intuitive. I just felt it. I was like, hey man, like, you want to try this? And he's like, you know what? Yeah. Because he had no muscle mass, couldn't hold a plank. If I put him in a plank just to see, I'm like, hey, can you just hold the plank? His feet were sliding on the floor. His legs were trembling. Couldn't, like, it was really
He had
bad.
Zero muscle tone.
Nothing. Just nothing. So I'm like, hey man, for 30 days, just eat like fucking meat. Just eat meat.
And he was open to it.
He's like, fuck it, I don't care. And he started getting better. And he's like, hey man, like, My stomach hasn't been hurting, all this other stuff. And I'm like, cool, man, just keep eating. He's eating meat. I got him into like organ meat, so he's eating liver, like just eating it. He's like, I want to introduce something else. I'm like, cool, man. I'm like, introduce avocado. He's like, oh, perfect, I'm good. So he just went meat and avocado. And then it was
And
like
the avocado was fine.
And it was fine. And then he went like meat, avocado, and I think zucchini, which is a fruit, by the way. Not a
Oh,
vegetable.
it has seeds.
That's right, on the inside.
Oh my God, my mind's blown.
Yeah, I eat a lot of zucchini. So he's like, and then the first time he had a big step back was, I think it was Passover, because he ate some of the other food that was there, and he was down for the count for, I think, a couple days. And then so then he got a little more, like, he's like, oh, well, I'm like, well, just fast. Fast, go from there. All of a sudden, he's incorporating fasting into his day. His breakfast was at like 1 p.m. Just normal, eat all the meat he wants. Started putting on weight, started putting on muscle. Yeah, that was a lot of fun working with him because
That's amazing.
I was just trying to we were just like figuring it out. I was just like, I don't know, I was like, watch, bro, you're gonna get your vision back. I don't know. Like I was just talking, like I was just like, fuck it, let's ride this bitch till the wheels fall off, right?
Yeah. He had nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. He's like I said, damn near blind.
Is he still 97% blind?
I haven't talked to him in a little bit, but he just graduated law school, so
Good for him.
I'm sure he's fine. I know. He should send me like some Bitcoin or something. I'll call him. Like, hey, bro, you wouldn't have made it without me, bro. Send me some shit.
This is amazing because it sounds like what worked for you, having that animal protein and the fruits, you suggested to him because it's kind of like you've done everything else.
I suggested it to him before I even did. I stuck to that myself.
Really, but you just went based on what your gut was telling you. You said this was all intuition. Mm-hmm. And you also were a guinea pig, mind you. You had tried a whole bunch of different diet plans on yourself.
Yeah.
So you had experimented quite a bit. And I'm sure when you go through those experimenting phases, you also talk to other people and you find out what they're doing and how it works for them.
Yep. You just pick up on random little bits of information. You never know what you're going to learn when you're talking to someone.
Totally. And I love that you were able to find something that works for him. I wonder if he's still doing it. I know that because carnivore diet seems to be the most restrictive in a sense compared to a lot of these other diet plans, just because you're only eating one food group, and that is animal protein. I do know some lovely people who are on the carnivore diet, and it works really well for them. I learned about it through a guy named Jordan Peterson.
Oh, right. Yeah. He was,
yes,
he and his daughter. Yeah.
He and his daughter. And so I thought that was a little bit out there when I heard about it years ago, but it's like, well, wait a minute. If you're having all these problems, these medical problems, and they're not getting better no matter what, except for being on this diet is the thing that changes it for the better, then why not?
Yeah, exactly. Like, do what you
Why
gotta
not?
do. Who says I gotta go eat, what is it, the stupid pyramid? Do they still use that?
They do. I think they do use it. I haven't looked at one in a while, but I think it looks a lot better from when we were kids. Mm-hmm. I think that it's trying to be more proportional with like bigger emphasis on fruits, fresh fruits and veggies and stuff like that. But I honestly don't know. And that's not how I teach people to eat.
I tell everyone, I go, hey, this is my story, so this is what I'm going to advise. I'm like, if you want to do this other stuff, I'm like, go talk to someone else, because I'm not going to regulate it. Like, ultimately, I don't really give a shit what you do.
You give information, but whether they decide to do it or not is on them.
Yeah.
So are you still sticking to this animal protein and fruit diet right now?
Yeah, I have to.
You have to, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're going to get that pain. How
And I'll
many
be
years, by the way, did you deal with that amount of pain?
on and off for, wait, on and off like 20 years.
That's what I was thinking. I was going to say 20 years. That's a lot to put up with.
Yeah. And what's funny? It's like, I think, I'm, oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, so
For 20
even
years, you
now,
dealt with that.
20 years I dealt with it. I'm getting further and further away from that pain, right? From the last time I had that pain. And I kid you not, this is going to sound really weird. I mean, it probably won't sound that weird, but whatever. Like I feel like my personality is changing the further away from that pain that I get.
For the better?
I mean, I hope so.
Well, what do you specifically, what do you notice about your personality changing?
I'm a lot more relaxed in terms of, just in general, like a lot more relaxed. I think I'm a lot nicer and kinder, a lot more patient. Of course, a lot of this coincides with the birth of my daughter, right?
I was just about to say that.
So there's
Yeah.
part of that too, but honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I can relax a little bit,
Yeah.
because
Being in that kind of pain
you can't relax.
can, it makes you irritable, right? It makes you impatient. Now you can relax. And you have a 2-year-old daughter, you said? Mm-hmm. So you want to be patient and you want to be loving and nurturing and relaxed. But I would imagine adding a kid to the mix would actually, in some ways, it's like adding another stress to your life. A
Yeah.
beautiful, wonderful, loving stress,
But a stress nonetheless, yeah.
but a stress nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like that had to have affected you and your wife's sleep for a while, maybe still.
What sleep?
You see?
Sleep? It's fine. I think it's all like, I don't know, it's all fine. Like whatever. I don't, yeah, shit's
You,
not perfect. Like who cares? You know what I mean?
yes, I do. You seem also like the kind of guy who is like go with the flow. You don't put too much stock into things. You don't dwell or overanalyze. You let go and you move on to the next thing because this is life. And you've probably dealt with way worse. And so this is,
Yeah.
you
You
know,
know, how long you got? How much time you got? It's funny. It's just, I mean, growing up, the stuff that happened, the stuff that I knew that I definitely shouldn't have known at that age. Things that happen to people that I know, and even going to school, graduating, getting a job, opening a gym, opening a second gym. And then during that gym, we ended up embattled in this crazy lawsuit with a famous recording studio. And I lost absolutely everything, right? All the money had to go to consultants, to mediation, to lawyers, to this. You can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, all the money's gone. I was playing roulette with which bills get paid. We gonna, rent or DWP, and that applied to the gym, and it applied to both gyms, and it applied to the home life too, right? Like, you go through all of that stuff, and okay, like, made it out. Okay, like it's fine. Like no one died, and like, what do you? Okay, time to, I guess, build back. I guess, you know what I mean. Like, what do you do?
yeah.
You can't cry about it. Like, there was no one I could call and be like, hey, let me get like 100K. Like this shit doesn't exist.
You need to figure it out.
You just figure it out, and then so like you know, as I've gotten even, older and you look back on stuff like that, it's like, all right, like how I grew up, these random moments in my life, like, what's the worst that could happen to me? Like, oh, I go poor. Like, okay, and like, I'll figure it out, and I'll find a place to live, get some random job. I'm smart enough, I'll figure something out. Like,
Yeah.
why get? You don't need to get hung up on so many things not being perfect anymore.
Perfect.
And I think a lot of but it may be, but it's hard to have that mindset if you haven't gone through that. You know,
I know. I do know.
it's all a
I
matter
do
of
know.
degrees. So it's like, okay, I've seen all that, been there. Okay, cool, like whatever.
I was just thinking, if you grew up in poverty, in the projects, you already know that, and you survived, and you thrived, and so if you would ever have to go back to something like that, you know that you could deal with it, and you would find a way out again because you've already done it before.
Yeah,
I mean, the same thing is true with health and fitness. If you grew up like you did with an athletic background, you were always active, you were always in some sort of sports, you already have that foundation. Nobody can take that away from you. So if you go through any kind of crisis later on in life, whether it's litigation based, whether it's like money problems, whether it's whatever, it doesn't matter. You will always be able to find fitness again. As soon as you start up, it's still there. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's in your bones.
yeah, it's like part of your genetic makeup now.
It is part of your genetic makeup. It totally is. And I think I had this really fun conversation with you the other day when we were working out, and you were saying something like, if I wanted to get super lean, super fit, be able to lift heavy like how I've lifted before, I could, number one, I'm pretty close to it already. I surprise myself all the time. I know that I can do it, but also like I know exactly what I need to do in order to get there.
Yeah.
Have you done that where you had a little goal in mind and you just kind of tested yourself to make sure you still got it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Why are you laughing like that?
Every holiday workout that we do here.
Every holiday workout. So you put yourself through the madness and you join us, right?
Yeah, yeah, and there are certain movements like muscle ups that my the foundational elements I'm just really strong at. I got really good at ring dips, and I mean extreme depth, extreme range of motion ring dips. The ring is, my fist is in my armpit.
The ring is an extension of you.
The ring is an extension of me. Actually, you're right. That's actually what I tell everyone. I go, the ring is part of your wrist. Like,
There you go.
treat it
See,
as
I
such.
get you.
Yeah. And so I'm really good at that. I've gotten really good at, all these things. And the funny one is, I got challenged. And don't challenge me because look, what'd I say? What's the saying? My mom didn't raise no punk, but she sure as shit raised the dummy.
I never heard the second half of that. That's
Well,
hilarious.
Well, that's my second part. So like, if you challenge me, I'll figure it out and I'll get it done. But I'll be walking away like, I gotta go see my massage therapist.
Yes. Oh, that's ego.
Oh yeah, of course. But every now and again you gotta whip it out. You gotta let these kids know, who
You
boss
still got it. Who's the
Hell yeah.
boss? But
Who's
you
the
don't want to be
boss?
the boss.
No, I don't. That's true. You gotta let them know who could be the boss if you really want it to be all bossy. But, just kind of off to the side doing his thing. You know what I mean?
I'm just fucking with you.
I love it.
That's funny.
But yeah, so I got challenged to do was it like I think they did it in the games or something. It was like a muscle up, a seated muscle up with your legs up or something like that.
With your
so you
yes, with your legs
something like
extended.
Yeah,
I
you
know
know,
exactly. I can picture the whole thing in my mind.
yeah. And
This
I
is
was like,
some
oh,
gymnast shit.
yeah. I was like, oh, that's fine. Like, how hard could that be? And they're like, oh, well, like, you can't do it. You're all like, man, man. I don't know what they said. And I was like, all right, watch this shit. I got it on my second try.
Did you warm up or no?
No.
Jimmy.
Hey, you're in the Sahara. No, not the Sahara. What am I saying? Where are all the lions at? We're in Africa, whatever. The
Like in a safari?
safari. You're over there, whatever. Damn lions are just asleep and they see a wildebeest. They get up and start warming up.
Oh, so
No,
you're a lion.
I'm a lion or a jackal or a hyena, probably a hyena.
I
They get
love
up and
that.
they go.
The example is you're an African animal. You
I'm
are
on
the.
African, well, maybe like a puma from like South America, I guess. We're
There
probably
you go.
some
You're a
jaguar.
big cat.
I'm a big cat, even though I hate cats.
Okay, so you're what you're saying is fuck the warm up.
Fuck the warm up.
Okay, are you
Yeah.
gonna tell just so that because you know that everybody at the gym is gonna listen to this? Do you actually recommend that in real life? Tell the truth.
No, of course not.
Okay.
I recommend. So like, I, you've done warm ups with me, right?
Yes, I have, and your warm ups are great. That's why this is
Yeah,
funny.
but it's all
And
just
I
like
also
movement based, right? We're
yes.
core activation, leg activation, glute, a lot of glute and hamstring activation. We're doing something. We're moving. I don't do a lot of mobility though, like a lot of stretching. I don't know why, but like based on my observations, everyone who stretches before they work out always has to stretch before they work out. You know, like they can't just get active and go. They always have to go through like a 40-minute yoga routine and frogs. You know what I mean? Like they're always got to do something. I'm like, hey man, like I don't know. It just seems like you become dependent on some of these things.
Well, to me, that just sounds like people who've established a habit. It's not that they couldn't just get up and get going, it's that they don't want to.
They tend to have issues.
Really. So for me, and the way that I was trained and the way that I train people is I ideally want people warming themselves up from the inside out. And that in itself, like just doing a nice strong plank and some plank variations, that way you're starting to get warm, you're creating heat, which actually makes the muscles a little bit looser in general. You haven't actually stretched yet, but if you are going to stretch, and I do recommend it, make it dynamic, add the movement in. So I think when you give people these hamstring and glutes and core type of movements, there's probably a stretch in there as well, and you're not even realizing it.
Oh, I mean, I realize it. It's all mobile and you are stretching.
Yeah,
You
it's just dynamic stretching as
exactly.
opposed to static stretching.
Correct. Like if you start off with planks, I start off with hollow rocks. Everyone hates me.
I love hollow rocks.
Everyone
They're
hates
so
me.
good for you.
I know I got like 5 or 6 different variations of hollow rocks that'll just ruin your day. And then we get into like usually some kind of kettlebell stuff, and you get like, but if you're doing some light kettlebell deadlifts, and you're doing some light kettlebell staggered stance RDLs, and you're doing these little things, and you're moving, all of a sudden you're in a lunge, and then you're in a deep squat, like then you're holding a handstand against the wall, like you're in it, you're long, you're hanging on the bar, like you're stretched.
You're
And
stretched.
it's like if we do all that and you need to go and lie down and get into a frog and doing like all these other things, I'm like, you got issues, man. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like you ain't gonna make it.
I'm such a visual person, so I'm imagining this person going through the warm up with you, and then they're off to the side in a frog position and saying, like, I need an additional 20 minutes or whatever.
Or whatever it is, yeah. And I'm like, nah, man, you just gotta.
Man, don't be a hater. Like,
I'm gonna hate. I'm gonna hate, man. That's with a
I
cat
would
lady.
tell that person if they still need a frog, like, do the frog at the end of the workout. Do your static stretching at the end of the workout.
That's actually what I advise. I tell everyone, I'm like, guys, like for your stretching, I'm not like, we don't really work it into class because we usually run out of time, and my class time management is poor. But I'm like, hey guys, stay after, like hit these stretches, hit this foam roller, like you need to do this.
Yeah.
It's more important afterward than it is before. I tell everyone, I'm like, hey, when you go home, like, even if it's just like 30 minutes before, right before bed, just hit this foam roller, hit this stretch thing. I mean, no one ever does it, but at least I say it. So when they
Yeah.
come back and, they're like, hey, this hurts. I'm like, I told you so. And I just live for those I told you so moments.
When I was doing CrossFit and I was going 5, 6 times a week and I was getting zero injuries, it was because I was showing up to class 30 minutes before and I was staying after class 30 minutes late. I also had a lot more time in my schedule where I could do that. I had the luxury to be able to do that. Now, not so much, but that's when I was free. Because if you are tight and you're lifting heavy, you're asking for an injury.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the lion, that thing is still in my head. I can't. So you got it on you got the seated with piked legs, muscle up on the second try without a warm up, huh?
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did
And
you
then
chicken wing it or did you do both arms simultaneously?
both arms simultaneously. I don't believe in chicken wing. You get no rep for that nonsense.
Thank you. Thank you. I believe the
If
exact
you
same thing.
this leads me to my next thing. Like, people get pissed off at me because, let's say you chicken wing a muscle up, I will get on your case about it. Hey, you got to work on this.
How do
And
you
the
say
worst-
it? Let's say I just chicken winged a muscle up. What are you going to say to me?
First one I see, I'm like, hey, watch that chicken wing. You start doing it again, I'll be like, hey, you need to stop. I'm like, you're gonna mess something up.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, you should probably work on some strict chest to bar pull-ups, whatever variation we can get there. We need to work on some lat development. I love like elevated ring rows, things like that. And we need to work on some straight bar dips, right?
Nice. I agree with all that.
On the bar muscle up bar dips, right? Those
Yeah.
things. We need to get all that stuff going. And the thing about fitness or whatever this is a lot of people will say something like, well, I got up. It worked.
Yeah.
And
But
then
does it really count?
that's what I say. I'm like, well, you can look at it two ways. One, you're gonna get injured, and then what? Or two, if you continue in that way, you'll never get better at it, so you'll never be able to string more together. You'll never develop the right endurance for it. And let's say you're in a competition, then you're going to blow all your energy chicken winging on that bar, and by the time you got to go snatch or do something extra, it ain't there, right? The
Man,
goal's
it's
to
all
be-
those things.
It's all those things. And so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's
So
what I
you
tell
say all of these things to the members and they do it anyway?
some do.
Some,
Some
but some
will-
actually
Yeah,
listen.
some will listen and they start, they'll take a step back and they start working on some things. I'll work with you if you want as much time as you need. I'll give it to you. But you gotta do it and you gotta want it.
Yeah.
If
It
you're
must
coming
be
up to me, for the 40th time telling me how you want to get a bar muscle up, but you've never even got your strict pull-ups that I've been telling you to do for the last 5 years. I don't have time for your shit.
That's applicable to pretty much everything in life. People want to go from 0 to 100 and they don't want to do all the work, all the steps that are required in order to achieve that in the correct way, in a safe and healthy way where you can repeat those results over and over and over again. Like you said, will you be able to string them together? Can you do it injury-free?
Right. Can you take 6 months off, show up, warm up, I guess, and then knock one out? Or are you going to, it's gone? Or do you get that one and then whether you get one or not is a crapshoot? We never know if you're ever going to hit your muscle up or not. Because that happens too, right? The inconsistency.
Yeah.
Oh, I got one. Cool. Let's get the second one. Yeah, that looked weird. 7 attempts go by, 8 attempts go by. Oh, I landed one. It's like, hey man, you don't really want to be throwing stuff. You don't want to be throwing your big ass up on those rings with a hope and a prayer. It's a
And
good
a
way.
muscle up is one of those movements where you can't go in 60%. You got to go 100%. It's a full effort movement. So I can't even, I mean, I've dealt with it to a certain extent because I work with individual clients. You're working with whole classes. So you're trying to manage an entire group of adults, and you're dealing with these egos,
Yeah.
and it's interesting when you see people who say, oh yeah, I got it. I got that rep. And you look and you clearly see that they did it incorrectly with poor form, yet they think that they got it. And it's like, well, you did, but it was poor form. So should we count that? And I think their answer says a lot about possibly how they live the rest of their life. Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
No. I will learn everything about you by how you work out. Everything. Yeah.
Say more about that.
I mean, I'll learn your personality type. I'll learn how you deal with adversity. I'll learn how comfortable you are with discomfort. What your frustration levels. I'll learn everything.
Yeah. That is such a good point. I don't know if I've ever thought about it that way, but I 100% agree with you. And I think also you can understand someone's potential when you see them work out as well. Because I see this with my clients all the time, is I can see, I have movies going on in my head where I can watch their movie about where they could possibly go. And they're always the hero in this
Right.
movie I've created for them. And so it's like a Rocky movie or something like that. But it's up to them ultimately. It's their
Right.
life.
Yeah. And it's funny because with this, CrossFit's weird because there is that, it's not just fitness, right? There is that kind of sport element to it. So you get, what do you get? It's like, you get like a half in, half out with both.
What do you mean?
Like you get people that are half in with the fitness part and half in with the sport part. So they don't really want to be uncomfortable, so they're half in with the fitness part, but they want to, play, hey, my butt just dropped right below where it needed to be, so it counts. So I can go faster part too. It's a weird, I don't know, it's weird. People play the sporty element, and I'm like, yeah, hey, it's a fucking Wednesday. Get your fucking
Are you saying that they take it too seriously?
I think they do. But I took it seriously before, and I've coached people who have taken it seriously, and that's not how you act if you take it seriously.
How do you act if you take CrossFit seriously?
You probably spend a lot, you will spend a lot more time on very specific strength and skill development
Like?
than you, a heavy dose of time dedicated to Olympic weightlifting, a heavy dose of time dedicated to strict gymnastics work, right? You're not really going to be, hey, let me hit this 30-minute quick little EMOM and then jump into this workout and try to beat this class.
Right.
And it's got to be tailored to, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Like, what exactly are you trying to accomplish here? That's the serious approach.
This reminds me of another conversation we had a couple weeks ago where, sometimes just getting people's foot in the door when it comes to getting into a gym, even like more specifically a CrossFit gym, is a huge win, because CrossFit, especially when it was getting super popular, I don't know, back in like 2010 and then beyond, it started to get popular. And I remember seeing the first advertisement on TV, and there was like some bulky, muscular person with like, everything was dark, and they were flipping a tire and it said CrossFit. And I was like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. And it just seemed so intimidating.
Yeah.
So to get anybody into a CrossFit gym, whether they're doing a 30-minute EMOM or they're doing, Olympic weightlifting, to me, that's a win.
Yes.
And then from there, once you get them in, then you see like, okay, can we take you from doing the 30-minute EMOM? Can we build you and start to progress you in a way where you are a much more well-rounded athlete?
Yeah. And that's if you're really taking it seriously. If you are, hey man, I just, I get an hour in my day, I want to work out, I just want to, have a good time. I'm like, awesome. We got you covered. I still think there are some things that you need to take seriously, like, hey, keep track of like your benchmarks, keep track of your weights, right? Let's do a little better keeping your nutrition in check. Let's do some of these things just so that at least there's always some kind of progress.
Yeah.
Because the last thing, like, I just don't like. The last thing anybody wants is you learning how to do a squat, for the 30th time this year. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you
You
still
want
have
to you
to.
want to advance people. You want to give them more tools that
Yeah.
they could be working with. And Jimmy, I'm thinking though, there are some people who are only going to do 30-minute EMOMs. And for those of you who don't know what an EMOM is, it just means every minute on the minute. And it's like a circuit, it's like circuit training. For them, that's a win, and
Yeah.
that's enough. And for me, at least when I first started coaching, I wanted everybody to go where I was going,
Yeah.
because I could see the potential, and I was just like, oh my God, if I can do it, you can obviously do it. But that's not true.
No.
Not everybody wants that. Not everybody wants what you can do, Jimmy. And I
Right.
mean, you loved CrossFit so much, you opened your own freaking gym.
Yeah.
And so and you've got the gymnastics, you've got the Olympic weightlifting, you have the body weight movements, you've got the HIIT training, you've got all of it, but not everybody is going to want that.
Right. The only thing I want, like, I really try to, I don't want to say force people to do, is the only thing I really want is for them to accomplish something they never thought they could accomplish, whatever that is. Whether it's a handstand hold, something as basic as a handstand hold, or a ring dip. Like, I don't determine anybody's worth by like their capabilities, right? Like, I don't care if you can do a muscle up. I don't care if you've trained with the greatest athletes in the world. I don't care about any of that stuff. Like, I just care that they are able to, like I said, accomplish something that they never thought they could.
Do you try to help them find that goal?
Yeah, I do. It's funny. When I opened the gym, I thought, I'm coming from Team CrossFit, and me and some people were more competitive, and these other people were competitive, and we're all like in it. We're gonna get some people in here. It's gonna be wild. My first official client, is a 55-year-old lady who, was never fit. Had some abdominal surgery for some stuff. Couldn't hold herself up on anything. Couldn't do a sit up. Couldn't hang. couldn't squat below like 3/4. Like, you know what I mean? She could barely lower her butt. Couldn't, like a burpee was a creative adventure, right? She had to get very creative to get up from a burpee. And that was my first client. And I was like, oh shit. Like, this is the reality, right? Like, the reality is you're not going to get your 27-year-old athletes coming through the door that just want to hang out with you and have fun. Like, you're going to get people that, you know, can't do a whole lot. Yeah. So with her, I mean, I had to get creative. I had to figure out how to get her to do certain things, and not in a management kind of way, but in a, hey, we're going to do this now, and then later we're going to progress to this, because it may sound crazy now, but I believe in my heart of hearts that you're going to be squatting ass to grass. I believe in my heart of hearts that you're going to be doing a pull-up, you know, like, and it's all this like far out stuff. Like, if you was here, you'd be like, Jimmy, you're fucking nuts. Like, no, like, just manage. And management, no, I wasn't about management. I was about like, no, we're going to get you there somehow. We're going to figure this out. And you've seen her in the gym, and she's 69 now, and she can do ring dips, and she can do handstand push-ups, and she can do pull-ups, and she can do toes to bar, and squats ass to grass, and can fucking snatch, and can do fucking everything.
Are you serious? She's still a client?
Yeah.
And she's still a gym member. How long has she been with your gym?
14 years.
Holy moly, this is amazing. Did you happen to get any video of her from the beginning? I know, we didn't do
because
that.
you know me. I don't video shit. I don't take pictures of anything. I don't focus on that stuff. I don't know why. I wish I did. I wish I was good at, oh, let me get my phone and take a picture of this, or hey, let's do something. No. And I don't know. I'm not good at it. All of a sudden, like,
That's okay.
14 years later, I'm like, damn, I fucked up.
No, you didn't. You were present with her. You got her to,
Yeah.
you achieved exactly what you said before. You helped her create goals that she might not have even thought possible for herself, and you helped her achieve them. That's a huge, huge deal. Like, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it.
That's the stuff I care about. You know, I know I'm like all hard on the outside and shit, but like, that's the kind of stuff I care about.
But
It's
initially, you were thinking very sexy. You were thinking 27-year-olds already fit. Now we're gonna go competitor, and but
abs everywhere, just
abs
glistening environment, just everyone glistening, swinging on bars. Like, shit's about to get wild in here. It's gonna be CrossFit sexy. Just gonna be. I was gonna rename it to Hot Fit, where only hot people can work out.
hot fit. There you
Yeah,
go.
you're ugly. You're just giving us towels. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what
Stop
we're at.
it. Stop it. But having this client and seeing her progression over the years, and her not only her consistency, but like loyalty, dedication to herself, like, is it worth it?
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you what stories have made it worth it. Like, she and her husband, I mean, both of them come here. He just wasn't as bad, but 14 years, and what CrossFit has turned into is just something to keep them in shape enough to go on their fucking 2-week backpacking trips. You know what I mean? Like, they go legit backpacking. They're like, hey, we're going on a 14-mile hike. You want to go? I'm like, yeah, I'll meet you there. Like, what?
14 miles is a lot.
Shit, 1 mile is a lot. Like, I drive home. I drive 22 miles home. 3 miles in the car, I'm like, man, this is too much shit. I need to go, like, relax somewhere. I ain't got time for this, and they rock climb, they go indoor rock climbing. They're doing all sorts of shit. Like, they do so much. And I'm just like, that right there is the, for me, CrossFit got me out of all this shit and was like, I'm like cursing now, but CrossFit got me out of all this stuff because I was whatever I was wrapped up in, and showed me a way. Hey, no, man, like you can be proud of yourself in this way. You can be part of something different. You have a different community. There's these other ways of growth. You can, be proud of like, think about how many of us never accomplish another athletic feat after high school. Or, if you played college sports, sure, then after college, right? So for me, like I wasn't, playing high school football. Everyone thought they were going to go play in college. Shit, I had no delusions of that. I'm like, I'm 5'9" on a good day, and I was like 170, like, and slow compared to like these fucking monsters. Like,
But you were a good team player.
Yeah, I'm a good team player and I'm smart. I'm smart as shit. Like I get great at pattern recognition. I knew what was gonna happen. I'm vicious. Like I am vicious. They nicknamed me the crash test dummy because I just did not. It was like I know what needs to be. Like I will lay it all out on the line. Like we're going.
You
for
get it done.
Oh, I get it done, or I'm gonna find a way, or I wasn't dirty. I was not dirty, but I was about as rough as you can be before you get dirty.
You know what? That's a talent.
And I would not shut up. I got a mouth on me, and you don't even want to know. It's a good thing there was no social media back then, because they would have heard some shit. I would have been canceled. Who knows? Disaster. But I grew up hard. Like, we're on the football field. Well, you're not gonna stab me. Like, who cares? Like, whatever. Anyway. But I don't even know where I was going with that. But, how many of us accomplish these, other things? How many of us really become physically proud of are proud of ourselves over a physical achievement after high school or football, or high school football or high school soccer or college football, college soccer, college sports, right?
I would imagine not a lot of people.
Yeah, like, hell, and I think it may even get worse the better you are, right? Like, me in high school, I knew, shit, I ain't going nowhere, so I'm just going to lay it all on the line. I told kids, my teammates, I'm like, bro, you're not going to go play in college. Like, go read a book because I'm better than you and I suck. Like, you're not going anywhere. Like, get your shit straight, right? There are people that, they get into college and play college ball. Imagine thinking you're going to make it to the pros and then you just don't, like, then what?
Then what do you do?
What's your next level of achievement? Like, what do you?
Then what?
Yeah, for me, it's awesome. It was awesome to just head in a completely different direction. Like, I never did Olympic weightlifting. I never did strict gymnastics work. I never did anything like this. Like, it was cool to see and to do something other than just your traditional bodybuilding, right?
Yeah.
Feel like an athlete again and accomplish, the aesthetics and accomplish the fitness portion and these cool new skills. And I think it's good for a lot of people to find that. And then like with that couple, using those physical achievements as the foundation for other aspects of your life that you love.
Totally.
Water skiing, backpacking, jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah. Because of your help, they're able to do things they might never even imagined they could do. Yeah. Or hoped they could ever do. Like all these different possibilities opened up for them just because they do well-rounded exercise like CrossFit. Yeah. And the other thing that's beautiful is, the community that comes with it. It's a very welcoming community. I think that's why I stuck with CrossFit, is because the community is probably the nicest I've ever known.
Yeah, for the most part, everyone's great.
And they all like to suffer together.
Yeah, who doesn't, right?
I know, but especially CrossFitters, they really like to complain about the pain and with each other and suffer together.
You got to come hang out in my 9 a.m. class. That's all it is.
Yeah, I've been there. I was there for many years. I'm over it. But I'm always going to have the deepest respect for CrossFit. I love it. It's part of me. It's the reason why, I'm a trainer now. And it's the reason why I got into fitness modeling. It was because of CrossFit. It was the reason why I got rid of like 10 years of low back pain. I also had terrible back pain mine was from improper lifting, actually, trying to, lift as much as the guys. And that was all ego driven.
Yeah.
So anyways, is there anything else that you want to share before we wrap things up?
Um, no, not in particular. I mean, if you had a question, I mean, I do better when prompted. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind
yeah. No,
of,
that's fair.
I don't have,
Um,
like, I don't mind talking about anything. It just, if you ever ask me, like, hey, what do you want to talk about? Whatever. Like, I'm
yeah,
just
so
really
you
bad
need to be
about picking.
prompted.
Yeah.
Okay, let me think of a question for you to close on. Um, with where you're at with your health and fitness now, and listen, health encompasses a lot of things. It's not just about what you're putting into your body, the food, the drinks, whatever it is. It's like the mental stuff too. For me in particular, I'm very sensitive to like different people that I'm around, media that I expose myself to, all of that stuff.
Oh,
I'm super sensitive. When it comes to that stuff, um, how much do you think it affects you?
media only affects me because it affects everyone else and they bring it to me, right? So when we're touching on like working on basics and training, the worst part of this industry is everyone is looking for the highly specialized quick fix, right? Hey, this one influencer says if I got to wake up early and touch my toes in the sun and do this thing, and if I touch this weight, then blah 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 blah, and it's like, no. And everyone's after the sexy, and in reality, the thing that's going to get you the best. There's two things that are going to get you the best results. One is you buckle down and you hit all your rudimentary skills and you work on them and you work on yourself in that way. And two, you lock it in your mind that you're never going to look like anyone else and that optimizing your body type is the greatest thing that you can do for yourself, not chasing another body type.
Wow, that
That one,
is
that one applies more to women because I get more women, but everyone wants to look like someone else or this or that or this. And it's like, no, if you work on optimizing your body type, God, you're going to be so fucking happy with yourself.
so when you say you get more women ask like telling you like, "Hey Jimmy, I want to look like so and so. I want a body type like so and so." You hear that a lot?
I hear a lot of that. Like, I want to lose 50 pounds. I want my thighs to be like skinny. I want it. And it's just like, I don't, it's like all, it doesn't work that way, you know? Hey, you want to keep this exactly like this, but you want to lose weight on your thighs and then you want your calves to get big? Go get fucking liposuction and then stick the fat in your calves. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Like,
What you're saying, folks, what Jimmy's saying is spot reduction does not work. It is a myth. If you want to lose fat in a specific body part, it doesn't work that way. The body doesn't work that way. What you need to focus on is overall like fat loss. And how does that happen? You got to move more. You got to eat right. You got to
gotta build
prioritize your
muscle.
sleep. You got to learn how to manage your stress.
Yeah.
It's all the quote unquote unsexy stuff that you don't want to do.
Exactly.
And you got to do it over and over and over and over again. You just have to do it. And there's no cheats.
No.
I think what you're saying is there's no like 30-day recipe to this. And a lot of the folks, like, don't get me wrong, I love a 30-day challenge because I just love challenges in general. But do I think that 30-day challenge is going to set me up for long-term success? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What sets me up for long-term success is doing things every single day, even when I don't want to.
For me, it's you eat your ground beef and zucchini, and that's it. Every day.
Do you ever have a craving for anything else?
Hell yeah. You ever see me destroy a banana cream pie?
No.
I feel bad for people.
Oh, I told you I was in a pie eating contest.
I know you won, right?
I won.
Yeah,
I
right.
didn't realize. Oh, so you like banana cream pie, but you can't eat it though because it's going to mess up your guts.
Yeah, but every now and again, you just
It's
gotta.
worth it?
Hey, man. You got to cheat to treat. Everything in moderation, including moderation, right?
So I do love that quote. A former client and friend of mine said that same thing. Everything in moderation, including moderation.
And, I had a member here. He brought me the best damn banana pudding with the wafers in it.
Oh, I know that.
I destroyed that shit like 3 miles, right? 3 miles down the road, it was already gone. But I don't live to cheat, right? Like I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm disciplined enough that I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna destroy this banana pudding and then enjoy it. And it's going to be a little rough for a little bit, and then you just move on. I think where people falter is you get wrapped up in either looking for cheats or looking for a substitution for cheats. People are like, oh, well, I love brownies, so I came up with this sweet potato, avocado, cocoa, special paleo brownie that blah, 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 blah. Bitch, you're gonna get fat eating all that shit. Just eat the damn brownie when you want the fucking brownie. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I make the most amazing paleo cookies.
No, sure. They may be the most amazing paleo cookies, but you know what? I'm gonna go to fucking Crumble, and that cookie's probably way better than your fucking paleo cookie. Just enjoy the damn cookie.
Mine tastes good, but I will say this: I will eat like 4 in a day, and then I made 16, so I'll eat 4 today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, and I'm like, that wasn't the point.
Right. That's why I just go out and I get the dessert that I want, and then I just move on. Like that's it. Like I'm not.
I hear you. I hear you.
Cookie? You out your mind? That's gross.
Well, I've also trained myself to not really like pure sugar cane so much anymore. It's like too sweet for my taste buds.
Yeah, that's a thing too. On my diet, like I'm eating fruits. I'm eating, well, pretty much only fruits, right? So, but like I told you, that squash is a fruit, cucumber is a fruit, avocado is a fruit. Zucchini is a fruit. I eat a lot of meat, but fuck, man, nothing beats, like, I think it was in the fall. I don't know what was going on, man. I just kept picking these magical mangoes. Like, they just tasted like honey. And there is nothing.
Mangoes.
Yeah, magical mangoes. And I'd eat them, and oh my God. Like, there was nothing better than that. That's the only time, like, my daughter was like, I want mango. I'm like, oh, you sure? You sure you don't want, like, this delicious paleo cookie?
Mangoes have a lot of sugar and they're very, very sweet, but I love them. And if it's perfectly ripe.
That's what I'm saying. They were perfectly ripe. I was just eating like a steak and then a mango. Oh man, I was in heaven.
Yeah.
I didn't need cookies. Like I was just living it.
And did that hurt your guts?
Mango? No, mango's perfect.
So there you go. You've got something to replace that. I think when people try to get rid of something entirely and then they don't have anything else to put in its place, that's when the trouble really starts.
Yeah, but also man up. Like
I know.
You guys, hey guys, like, oh, but if I don't get my like, I have to have my biscotti. Like, oh God, like how old are you? Just get rid of it. Some
I
things.
know, but that's not being very compassionate either. I have been that way
No,
because I was raised by a dad who's like that, who would say stuff like that, man up, to two little girls, by the
I
way.
know. I would never say it to my little girl.
No, but you shouldn't say it to your
I
little
know.
boy or to a grown man. I don't know. You
You seen some of these men coming around? No, someone's got to tell them because when you can't jump on a pull-up bar because you need your wrap and you got to have like the special wrist thing and you got to activate your Fitbit and you need like the special chute. I'm like, man, you better get the fuck up on that bar, like. See, you know it. You just like I know we don't say it, and
No, listen, I admit it. People know me to be militant. I was raised by military. So I'm like part Zen and part military. Some days when I feel like you need to be coddled and nurtured, I'm going to give you that. But then other days when you're strong, whoosh, I'm going to crack that whip.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I'll yell at you and give you a hug. It's fine. Like,
See,
I'll hug you. You know what? If you need it, I'll hug you and be like, "Hey, you gotta man up, little buddy. Like, it's fine. Suck it up."
The way that you say things to people also matters, right? And that's just a matter of learning how to talk with different types of people. You have, if you care. If not, you just keep being you. You'll also attract the kind of clients who like your personality.
All the Russians and Israelis. It's fucking weird. I can't get away from them. They're like, hey,
They love you.
They're like, hey, my friend told me to come to your class. I'm like, are you Russian or Israeli?
And you're also joking because you love them.
Oh, I love everyone. Honestly, I fucking love everyone. Like,
I can tell.
I'm gonna put on a front. I'm gonna, do all that stuff because, here's a good one. This business is hard, man. The best way to make an impact on someone is to make an impact on someone. That means you got to be a real person with them. That means you got to connect with them. You've got to give a lot of yourself to them, and them knowing you being real and them buying in like that is how they have to trust you. That's the best way for them to trust you. They're going to believe in themselves. They're going to attempt all these things. And at some point they leave. And over 14 years, people move away, lives change, you know what I mean? And it takes a little bit sometimes, because you make these friendships, like I'm at people's weddings and, I'm at all these different things and it's just like, so you gotta be a little bit, and you gotta be a little rough with them because, at some point in the weird, it's weird, at some point, like in the back of your mind, you kind of know that they're gonna be gone or I'm gonna be gone,
So it sounds like when you did this to me means protective mechanism.
Of course, yeah. And you don't have enough energy for everyone, and you have like, I was talking to another buddy of mine. It's like, when we first started, it was like a core group, and then you guys are always hanging out and going places, and you do all the outside stuff, and then more people come in, and that's another group, and then you gotta split your time, and then all of a sudden that first group is kind of doing things on their own, and you kind of like set them free, and then same thing happens with this one, rinse and repeat for 14 years, and people move away, and it's a tough one.
I know what you mean.
So I still remember like almost everyone. Shit, like that's the tough part. I remember so many fucking people. I just got a text message the other day. It's like, "Hey Jimmy, happy birthday!" And I looked and I was like, "Oh, that's a Vegas number." I'm like, is this Mike? And he's like, shit, how do you remember me? I'm like, yeah, dude, of course. You know, I don't remember your last name, Rashmir. It's like, just fucking, I don't know. Like, so at least I don't know.
I know what you mean. It's tough because number one, this gym is your baby, and it's your other home, and you're inviting people into your home. You're building true blue friendships. You're seeing struggles. You guys are raw with each other. There's honesty, there's suffering. There's all the elements to having a real relationship. And you also are very realistic, and you understand, like, people can't stay forever. No. You know, the example of the couple that's been there for 14 years, they're an outlier. You're not, most people are not going to be like that, but there will be some for sure. But this is part of life. And what you're saying is, like, it sucks a little bit when people have to move on and do their other things. I know exactly what you mean. I have clients that where we knew that it was like, it was ready, like it's time to go.
Yeah.
And it's literally the best thing for everybody, for whatever reason. People are moving on. People, you know, are ready to do things independently. Maybe it's not a right fit. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Right. And I think this is just a very real human moment with you. And what I see is this is the reason why you should be a gym owner, because you care so much.
Yeah. It's tiring, man.
Yeah, of course. A lot of jobs are, especially if you're working for yourself and you don't have other people helping you out. That might be something to consider, because you're doing it all.
Well, I mean, people help out here a lot. You know, all my coaches, man, like I'm blessed with people that, at least in the last little bit, you know, with the birth of my daughter, I've really, you know, been away a lot. Like, I'm not around as much as I used to. I don't, you know, things are falling through the cracks. I'm slow on my repairs. I'm slow on this. I'm slow on that. I'm behind on this. I'm behind on that, you know, just, you know, I want to be there as much as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And man, I mean, I admit this, like, man, there are people here that fucking care about this place more than I care about it. You know, and that's awesome. You know, it really is.
Do you think that's true?
I think that's 100% true. I think that's 100% true. And like I said, it's a kid, right? It's a teenager now, and those fucking teenagers are annoying, right? So.
But you still love them.
I love them, you know, and
you're still going to take care of them.
Yeah, of course. You know, it's just, you know, I'm pulled here and I'm pulled there, and there's other things, you know, that also, you know, I'm trying to do, and, you know, this ain't gonna last forever. Like, it's just not, because even at its inception, it wasn't a forever thing. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I tried to get rid of this fucking place. Right? Almost sold it, didn't work out. When I had a falling out with one of my business partners, I was gonna leave. All she had to do was just chill. I was gonna leave. Like, I was already kind of like, you know what? Done as much as I could. Now's the perfect time. Whatever. And then, you know, kind of, she tried to kick me out. And then that's a no-no. Like, don't pick fights with me, because I'll take us both down to the gutter, you know?
You already said you're vicious.
I'm vicious, you know, and
And you're protective of your baby.
Yeah, and I'll do whatever it takes. Like, oh, we're both gonna be poor together. Like, I don't care. I've been there. You haven't. Like, I can survive being poor. Can you? Like, whatever. I'll eat the same thing every day. Ground beef and zucchini. I'll be so lean. You have no idea. Like, I thrive on that shit. Like, let's go. You know. I need less options, less thinking, let's rock and roll. And then, before COVID, I tried to a little bit. Then COVID hit, and they're like, hey, you got to shut down. And I was like, fuck you. Like, nobody tells me what to do. You out of your fucking mind? Went through it all, here I am. But, ultimately,
and you're still here.
Still here. And, but like I said, nothing lasts forever. And you just, in an ideal world, this will turn into like a co-op that I show up at. You know what I mean?
Hey, and maybe that's what you're going to manifest. Who knows? But you're right. Nothing does last forever. Nobody lasts forever. Everything has to change at some point or go on to the next thing. And so how about enjoying it to the fullest while you got it?
Well, you got it. And yeah, I never cared about CrossFit outside of this place. Like, I don't watch the games. I don't really keep track of any of that stuff. I just care about my people, and I just care about what they care about, and that's it. So, like I said, ideal world, I'd be like, hey, I'm going to move on. Here's do this, and it's a co-op now. You guys run this shit, figure it out, or I'll run parts of it. You guys do whatever you want. As long as as long as we're getting the bills paid, like, who cares, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what's next.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate you being so candid. I had no qualms, no worries at all. I feel like you're super honest, and it's rare these days that I get to talk with people so genuine. So I appreciate you and wanting to be on the podcast. Thank you.
Of course. No, thank you. It's always fun to talk this kind of shop with people that kind of get it,
Yeah, I feel like I get more than you realize.
It's nice.
Yeah. Thank you, Jimmy.
Of course. Is Bradshaw?